I watched Redeeming Love with my girlfriend, and here are my thoughts on it. So basically, I'm not the target audience for a love story like this whatsoever. These usually aren't my favorite types of movies, but I saw the reviews for this movie. And I was pretty interested because I actually don't think a lot of those reviews are justified at all. I actually more agree with the IMDb reviews than not. And here's my reason why. Now, as far as a movie goes, I can see why some critics probably didn't give this a very good score. Michael's not really a realistic character. Like, he's kind of perfect, and that is, that doesn't really make any sense. I mean, he's probably got Noah from the Notebook beat on waiting, just to be honest with you, which is crazy, which is just unrealistic. And then Angel also deciding to leave three times. Like, yeah, I get it when characters and then people in real life are in situations like that, they tend to go back to where the abuse came from, where the problems stem from. But I don't think that it was believable that final time. So why do I have this movie where I would say, yeah, I could see it being like a 6 out of 10, that sort of rating right there? Well, I think it's fair to call that if we're allowed to say like movies like No Country for Old Men, The Shining, and just all these other movies are fair to be allegories for other things, I don't see why this movie can't be considered an allegory for God and his love for humanity, and then the sin that humans have. Because the way that I see it is, I see Michael as representing God and being kind of that perfect, unspoken, unforgiving, merciful version of God and the perfect love. Yes, he did punch his friend Paul in the face, but God has shown wrath in the Bible before, so I think he still works as that symbol right there. But then on the opposite end of the spectrum, you have that one guy, he was like the Irish guy, I don't really know what his name is as a character, but he represents the devil, where he's everything bad, there's nothing good about him, he's terrible, he likes children, which is just mad sus. But anyways, yeah, he represents the devil, so you have those two sides of the spectrum. But then you have Angel and Paul, who both represent very flawed characters that you don't like a lot of what they do, and you're like, oh yeah, that's not very good. And I think that's where a lot of critics are like, oh, as a character. But it's like when you see them represent sin for man and a woman, and that they kind of represent all of us on an extreme level with it being an allegory, I think this movie completely works because you have the full cycle of Michael being God and then that one Irish dude being the devil. And then you see through every other character in it the sins of man. And yes, like, some of us are not going to do the terrible things that Paul and Angel did. They both grew up in, different scenarios. They had a lot of trauma, but that's what humanity is. We have a lot of trauma. We make bad decisions. So I think it's fair if you look at it as an allegory for Christianity and God. I completely believe that this movie works and is a 6 out of 10. So yeah, I actually think the critics are wrong about this movie, and I think Redeeming Love's a pretty decent film. So thank you guys, and may God bless your day. And if you liked what you saw, consider subscribing.